Well, hello everybody, and welcome to episode 100 and blooming 30 of the British Football Comic Podcast. 130.
Hey!
Woo!
130.
Woo! That was some fireworks there. I'll do that again. Woo! There's a casting wheel. All right, move on. Yes. So, who have we got in the studio this week? So, first of all, let me introduce you to the man they call Mute Button Matt Richards. It's Mute Button Matt Richards. Good evening, Matt.
Hello, Goal. Good to have you back. The Podfather's back. Excellent. Yep.
Oh, I can't quite believe it myself. Next, I'll introduce, because I always forget when I do the introductions, I'm going to introduce Gull. Gull, what are you doing this evening? Well, I'm hosting Gull. Ah, thanks. Look forward to that. Right, moving on. Uh, also in the studio this evening, it's the time traveler himself, Golden Ian, the time traveler. Hello, Ian.
Hello, Go. Thank you very much. And I don't know if I'd want to time travel away from this weekend with Cardiff City getting promoted yesterday, well, as we're recording. And today, Cardiff City's women won the Welsh Cup, beating Swansea on penalties after being 3-0 down at one point.
Wow.
So happy days. I'm looking forward to this podcast after that.
So, Ian, what's going on in the footballing world in your region?
Yeah. I must say, I've just won £10 on the sweepstake that Ian was going to mention the fact that Cardiff got promoted within 2 minutes of the pod starting. That's a nice return. No, fair play. Great weekend for Cardiff.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, I fell asleep there. Sorry. Next up, hey! Oh, look at him. Oh, look at the light shining off his bald head, only separated by the strap of his headphones and glasses. Oh, it's the man they call Paul Tangential One Richardson. It's Paul Tangential One Tangent Richardson. How are you,
Cheers.
Paul?
Oh, yeah, I'm very good. Thank you. Thanks for the million mentions of tangents. Yeah, looking forward to the show in front of us.
Excellent. And finally, last but not least, because we do still have obviously David Skew in the cupboard, but we're not going to mention him every episode, are we? Yeah, yeah, he's all right.
Is he playing the trumpet?
Are you playing the trumpet, David? So finally, it's why does everyone have nicknames and who made them up? It's only Neil Bygone Berrigan.
Yeah,
Hello,
right.
Neil.
Yeah, I'm fine. Thanks. Glad to be here tonight. I'm looking forward to tonight's episode. When you did say the bald one, I was looking at myself because the sun's shining off my head tonight. So
you've got a little bit of hair, but I don't know whether it's the inking of Durrell's Palace.
it
So
is, I think, it is the inking of Durrell's Palace. Receding quite quickly. But yeah, looking forward to tonight. Thank you.
it's going to be a good show. Should we do the running order, people?
Go
Yes.
for it.
Okay. I'm in control tonight, aren't I? I usually don't know what I'm doing.
Well, at the moment, yes.
I know. Oh, it could all fall apart now. Right. We'll begin, as always, with the wonderful Melvin's musings with Matt. Then it's the time traveler himself. And what are you doing, Ian?
I'm doing 1984 to 85 Roy of the Rovers, reviewing that. I wouldn't say it's the best year for the comic, but certainly the best year for the main strip, at least one of the best years anyway.
Wise words there from the time traveler himself. Well played, Ian. Well played.
Shocking.
Yeah, I know. Can't wait for that one. Next up, of course, it will be. Well, I'll ask him. Should we ask him? What are you doing, Tangential One?
Well, it's the next instalment of the We Are United story from number 23 Champ Spike comic.
Hey.
What's that? Number 32?
No, actually, you've gone dyslexic. The wrong way round.
Oh, yeah. Oh, well, you know what? When it gets to number 32, you're not going to mention me, are you? I can just see it now.
Just mute you for the whole show. Don't worry about that.
Why would he mention you in that episode?
Exactly. I haven't got their goal, so I would not like to say what's going to happen in episode 32. We are at least 10 away.
I know.
There's lots to be told before that. Well, I'm sure will be another cracking instalment of the We Are United story.
Excellent. Can't wait. And health and safety have been in touch. And if you have got your volume turned up to 11 when you were listening or watching, make sure you've got your ear defenders. And I don't mean footballers, I mean your ear defenders, because I tell you, Tangential One reaches the peaks of volume and sounds that no one has ever heard before. Looking forward to that. Finally, we will have quite a big collector's corner. Whoa, looking forward to that. I think most of us have got something for that. So it's going to be a big collector's corner, and we're building an extension to Champ Towers as we speak, just to fit in all of the extra comics. And that's the running order. How does that sound, gentlemen?
Yeah,
Sounds good.
great stuff.
All right.
All right, blimey.
It'll do.
Quit.
It'll do.
I'm going to quit. You're not going to be excitable. I'm going to quit.
Yeah.
Right. Shall we begin?
Yes.
Go for it.
That's better. Okay, it's time for Mute Button Matt Richards and what we like to call Melvin's Musings. Over to you, Matt.
Thank you, Goal. Right. Okay. Yes. So, Melvin's Musings. So, feedback from two shows. So the last two shows, because obviously we did the special show released just in the week, but obviously there was before that was show 128, and so feedback here from someone called Goal. He says, "Well,
who's this, loser?"
I don't know, but well, he said, "Well, I got to say that I am looking forward to Goal returning to the impressions and singing." In light of the Bruce Grobbelaar impression by Golden Ian, I demand that Gold do Bruce's rap from the Anfield rap to show how it's done. Lots of love, Goal. Don't know if you know anything about that, Goal. Would you?
Oh, this is quite a shock to me. I wasn't expecting this.
You weren't prepared for this at all, were you?
No, nothing pre-planned. Okay, here we go. So I've got to do the Grobbelaar rap in Anfield
Well,
rap, right?
That's what you told me earlier to say. Yeah.
Oh yeah, cool. Thanks. Here we go then. Well, I'm rapping now. I'm rapping for fun. I'm your goalie, your number one. You can take the mick. Don't call me a clown. Any more lip and you're going down.
All right, eh? We're great, me and you. The other guys don't talk like we do. They don't talk like we do they, Ola?
No, they
We'll have
don't
to
laugh.
learn him to talk proper.
He had to. He had to come. Well,
well, that was incredible. That was something which I look forward to listening back to later.
I just think further proof Britain doesn't have talent.
You know, when we do the highlights, looking back when we're at episode 200,
Oh, God.
for the love of God, use that clip. Do not.
I thought
Anyway,
it was great. I thought it was great.
It'll end up being surpassed by the World in Motion that we do before the World Cup. So.
You've got to
God.
hold the give.
Don't
Yeah,
give
no,
him ideas.
that's right. Hold up
Can
on
I
that.
just
Hold
say,
up.
as I mentioned to you guys, I might be taking a sabbatical from the pod scene.
You can record your piece before you go.
Right, I'll carry on. But thanks,
Yeah.
thanks
Please
for
do,
that.
yeah.
Thanks for that Goal. The Melvster himself. Do we have theme
We-
tunes? Now
We
Goal's back.
do. Now Gull's back, and I've obviously muffled him with a plastic cup, so he can't sing now. Oh, it's Melvin's musings.
Great. It's good to have that back. Right. So, yeah, the Melvster himself. Here we go. BFC Podcast produces double header to remember. Hot on the heels of a BFC Pod Classico came a memorable red button winning matchup. The first leg of the Double Delight was episode 128, in which Golden Ian and Mute Button Matt gave the Here We Go on the release of a new book entitled ROTR, or at 50, and a very special live event to celebrate the 50th anniversary of Roy of The Rovers. It seems the Welsh Time Lord has cleverly adapted his enthralling Roy of The Rovers pod feature, which analyses all the stories that have appeared in the wiki comic, into a rattling good read. Meanwhile, the quiet man rightly made a load of noise about a big forthcoming BFCP fixture, which will see the crack comic book strike force of Tomlinson and Skew reunited in celebration of the Roy Comics' 50th birthday. And yes, musers, you can be there, pitchside too, rubbing shoulders with your comic book heroes and favourite pod stars. Get your tickets now.
Ooh.
Yeah, and thanks, Trevor. And by the way, I am going to put the link into the tickets for the event to this show. Any listeners or followers out there, who haven't seen the details yet. But thank you very much, Trevor.
Last 2 tickets available.
And Trevor's going to be there as well. Trevor's got his ticket. I know.
Oh, wow, brilliant.
I know. Looking forward to that. Some live musings. Wow. Okay. Anyway, I'll carry on. With the podfather absent after suffering a slight tonsil strain, and bygone Berrigan wanted for questioning over a missing Kit Kat lorry, the tangential one, by the way, he's on bananas tonight. So just to say, he's having a banana.
Say that without preempting it with, oh, have a banana.
I was just thinking of the Anfield rap again when he said, "My name's John Barnes, and when I do my things, the crowd go bananas."
Okay.
This show's on the skids.
Man.
Right. Before anybody else gets a bit fruity, Tangent produced yet another of his riveting, high-octane, high-pitched "We Are United" commentaries, and whilst it's also an illness-stricken Riverton United that faced league leaders West Hampton, the Banterfield Tug Wilson flashback is not to be missed. Next up, no ball. Mute Button Matt flew us off to sunny Spain and all the way back to the summer of 1974 for the very latest instalment of the Blackie Grey story. During the feature, where the tangential one curiously let slip that he'd attended a hen do in May 1993. Well, you have to give us the details of that. We put it on an extra pod one show.
Definitely not.
Okay, all right. I want to see the outfit anyway. But that's another story. The mute showed that he is something of a linguistic chameleon. Mute Button has an ear, just the one, for accents. See seamlessly. What?
He's a cunning linguist.
Oh God. And as he seamlessly affected a melodic Spanish brogue to bring a gripping drive into the mountains and an Iberian promotion playoff final to life. Another of the Champ Towers pod stars who has remarkable vocal abilities is Golden Ian.
Hey!
Not only can the pod's golden boy imitate dearly departed personalities, he can mimic living ones too. Users may recall that during the previous episode, the Welsh Time Lord produced an impression of Neil Kinnock, which later led to claims he had been asked to stand in the upcoming May elections. However, this week, the Golden Time Traveller is rumoured to have received a cease and desist letter from the legal representatives of an unknown Devonian living in the Torquay area after he mimicked ex-Liverpool goalkeeper Bruce Grobbelaar. Wobbly legs and all. I don't know. I haven't seen either of your legs, so I'll just take. Hopefully it wasn't the legs.
Yeah. All I was going to say is they're all at it now.
They're all at it now. Yeah, exactly. There's no more mention. It's not mentioned Bruce Grobbelaar again. Otherwise, we'll never finish the show. The second leg of this double header, episode 129, was a surprise red button outside broadcast affair, which certainly blew this muser away. Before setting sail for the Isle of Wight to meet with the great Barry Mitchell, Tangent, together with friend of the comic book stars, Mute Button Matt, met up with the legendary Roy of The Rovers editor Ian Vosper in Portsmouth. Over their breakfast feast, Ian shared 12 extraordinary handwritten Roy of The Rovers record books, not unlike the ancient illuminated manuscripts, but for comic book aficionados, which listed the authors, artists, letterers, and colorists of every story that ever appeared in the weekly comic for 1976 to 1990. However, Ian didn't stop there. The comic book luminary regaled the Champ Towers midfield playmakers with stories of his time at Scorcher and much else. After crossing the Solent, the head-to-head with one of football comics' all-time great illustrators, Barry Mitchell, was different gravy. We did have gravy, actually, because we went to a carvery. Barry exclusively revealed how he made his football comic debut and also replayed many of his major career highlights. However, the football picture story powerhouse didn't just talk a good game. Amazingly, he allowed the pod cameras to capture him in action, one for the YouTube followers of the pod, and showed that he really hasn't lost his touch at all. In a flash, and minus his glasses, it has to be said, well, his favourite glasses, Barry conjured a magical portrait of Roy Race that he generously gifted to the tangential one. Emotional. It was emotional. A cracking 6 points.
No idea, trust me. I'm welling up again to be quiet. I might have to say it a moment, guys.
Okay. I tell you what, I was living in tears watching it. I tell you, so wonderful.
Yeah, it really was. It really was. Oh, late Muse or Mules. A mule can comfortably travel 5 miles in roughly 1 hour, 30 minutes when moving at a steady, sustained working pace of about 3.5 to 4 miles per hour.
So
I
can
mean,
I just
that was a question I put out there, and
that,
fair play for Trevor, coming back.
that's brilliant. Do you know something? When I read, I was like, what is he going on about? And actually, today in the garden, sometimes I listen back, and I was listening to a different pod. It ended, and it jumped on to that pod, and it was you mentioning about Blackie and Roy, and I was like, oh, that's what he was going on about. Arriving late for their promotion
Yeah, the
Spanish
half
league
time.
game.
Yeah, so I mean, I do question that because I think there's half an hour into the game,
Yeah,
so they probably could have walked it, to be fair. But they jumped on the poor mules. I mean, I
mule.
think they probably
Yeah.
could have run quicker than the mules.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm not gonna.
Whoa, it smells things, mule stings.
Very good, very good. He's back. He's back.
He's
In the
Um,
bag.
carrying on. Phil Cole. Hi, Phil. He
Hi,
says, "Talk
Phil.
about." Hi, Phil. Hi, Phil. Any more for hi, Phils?
No, Phil.
Talk about a podcast that leaves you wanting more. Could happily have listened to another hour on football comics and another hour on all those artists Barry mentioned. As for the revelation of Ian Vosper's books, that's holy grail stuff. Also was listening, having picked up the new action special this morning. Much as I like Patrick Goddard's art, would have loved to have seen Barry join Mike Dory back on the title. Yeah, that special came out, didn't it? The action special.
yeah,
I see a lot of people posting about that. It
yeah.
looks really good. Thanks, Phil. John Carrow, who's the kind gent that introduced me to Barry, and hence we wouldn't have had the interviews or Matt or Ian. So
Yeah, fantastic.
John mentions a fantastic interview and great to see Barry at work. So thanks a lot, John. David Baker, who again he managed to go over to the exhibition in February, Barry's exhibition. He commented saying, "Brilliant to hear Barry again. What a lovely man. I met him at his exhibition and he told me that seeing his artwork up on all the walls meant as much to him as it did for me. And when you showed him drawing Roy, it was very emotional. I think it shows you all fans
Yeah,
seeing that. It's
yeah,
just a lot of people have said that.
He doesn't have a theme tune, does he?
Who? David Baker?
Yeah. Winding my way through Baker's Post.
Okay, that's good. We've got one now, whether he wants one or not. Jeff Tiley, hi Jeff, says, great episode. Lovely to hear from one of the unsung heroes of British comics. Rebellion should be getting in touch with Ian Vosper to get a copy of his records. Well done all. And Stratos Kavados, our friend from Greece, says, fantastic. Thank you very much, Stratos. Hope you're well. Lots of feedback on this stuff, so I'll keep going. Paul Savage, I think Tangent, you posted a piece of art, didn't you, on
that's right,
on the
yeah.
Roy of The Rovers Facebook page, and Paul commented below. He said, "What a fantastic episode! It felt like it lasted only 5 minutes because I was enjoying it so much. Growing up reading Roy of The Rovers and Tiger, I was always drawn to the artwork first and the story second. I often struggled to fully enjoy a strip if I didn't love the art. Back then, readers rarely knew much about the artists or writers, whereas now everything is properly credited. Barry Tomlinson certainly helped give comics a more human face with his warm, friendly editorial style. Under his leadership, I remember a feature showing a typical week for David Skew as he worked on Roy's latest instalment. There's also an episode of Tiger's Johnny Cougar in which the artist Sandy James appeared and even wrestled Johnny. Don't remember that. I have to look out for that one. That sounds pretty cool.
Yeah.
As a budding artist and sports fan, I was hugely inspired by my comics. Barry Mitchell, though I didn't know his name at the time, was one of those artists who seemed able to draw anything. His style suited any subject matter. Even before I knew who he was, I could pick out his work instantly. It was great watching him sketch live on YouTube afterwards too. Well done, guys, on a great episode. It's fantastic feedback, isn't it? I mean, I think that's how, Paul says, I think a lot of us think about the artwork, and how important that was. It wasn't the only thing, but it draws you in first, isn't it, really?
I must admit, there were definitely some stories myself that I think those were possibly the reasons why I didn't read them. I think the stories themselves might have been okay, but the artwork just wasn't It is funny, going back though, I do have revisited those, but certainly I do remember when I was originally getting the comics, I've always said this is always there was always seemed to be one, if not two stories that I didn't read. I got into later on. But interesting there as well, hearing about maybe that could be a feature of artists and creators appearing in some of these strips.
Mhm.
Watch this space.
What about podcasters?
I don't know. You're the podfather.
Well, I'm saying nothing.
Well, if you say something, you are hosting, but yeah, okay, anyway.
He's forgotten again.
Richard,
Yeah,
yeah, Richard Woods, friend of the show, Richard Woods.
Hey.
Theme tune goal. Sorry, I should have done that.
If you go down to the woods today.
Oh, look at that! Look at that!
You're certain to
Right.
get feedback.
cease and desist from my solicitors.
Cease and desist. There'll be no one here. It just
Yeah.
me and you, goal, and
Yeah,
Bogman.
yeah.
If he gets over the Kit Kat lorry theft. But, Richard Woods, Barry Mitchell strips over the years are the best. The sheer number puts him at the top, but David Skew and Roy of the Rovers for me. I mean, this is how kind of everyone's got their own favourites.
Yeah.
Michael Hathaway, he says, I've always loved Barry's work, whatever the story. Agree there with you, Michael, 100%. And Manos Kasatakis, Barry Mitchell is by far my favourite, and I have to admit that I prefer his work in black and white than in colour.
Yeah,
That's an interesting
I found
point,
that
isn't
really
it?
interesting. Yeah, I kind of know what he means, but yeah, I thought that was a really interesting point, to be quite honest.
Yeah, I think I get what he's saying. I do get what he's saying there.
Mm.
Good point. Thank you very much, Manos. Okay, so this is going back to 128. Paul Gibbons on YouTube says, "Hi, great video, great football content. Thank you very much, Paul." Lee Coulson.
Oh, the funky Gibbons.
You know what? I bet that's the first time he's ever heard of that. It's all right. That's okay. He can't hit us from where he is, I don't think. We call security at Champ Towers, make sure we don't let anybody into attack goal. Aussie Lee on YouTube. This is for 128. It said, "Wow, what a great news episode with the announcement of Ian's forthcoming book and the Roy of the Rovers event this September, both to celebrate 50 years of the now iconic comic. It's brilliant to hear all about it, and I only wish I could be there to attend in person. At least I'll be able to buy Ian's book when it comes out. Any plans to publish it for Kindle too, Ian?"
Yes, it'll go onto Kindle. So, yeah,
brilliant.
no problem.
That's great.
Wow.
Okay. Because this is, Lee says he'd prefer a physical copy, but obviously the postage to Australia can
No,
be quite...
actually, he's not got a problem with that because it's being printed by Amazon. It gets printed all over the world.
Oh,
so
locally.
for him,
Right.
if he orders it, it'll probably be posted from Sydney or something like that. So no problem. You just order it from your local Amazon. It gets translated into their currency, and that's it.
I mean, that's amazing,
Man.
Amazon. You even know the name of the person who's actually posting it in Australia, called Sydney. That's incredible. What a service they provide.
Can I ask a question?
Yep.
Yes.
I'm old school. Any plans to release it on parchment?
Oh,
Move
I'm
on.
sure something could be
Move
worked out.
Lee
Coming
carries
out
on.
on tablet.
It's very good.
Yeah, on
It's
your tablet.
it's definitely a tribute to both how the podcast has grown since its inception and all the hard work that goes on behind the scenes to make it happen. Who could have imagined all those years ago, reading the comics as kids, that this would be happening? Credit to you all, and on another great episode this week. 3 decades in, and the Blackie Grey story still has more twists and turns than the Spanish mountainside roadway. Cheers.
Brilliant. That is brilliant. I love
Brilliant
that.
stuff. Always brilliant feedback from Lee. Thank you, Lee.
Yeah.
Another one on 129. Aid Gower on YouTube says, "Amazing. I was welling up myself watching Barry draw." So that's it. So that's all the feedback. A lot of feedback, but then there's two shows as well. So thanks everybody for your lovely feedback. Back to you, Podfather.
Well done there, Matt. That was quite a lot to get through. Multiple musings from people, and unfortunately, it went on so long. That's all we've got time for tonight. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Goodbye. Oh, sorry. Right then. Excellent. Fantastic. Thank you to everyone that sends in their feedback. We always absolutely appreciate it. And yeah, keep them coming. Okay, it's time for the first proper section. I'm going to hand over now to the time traveler himself, Ian Golden, for his Roy of the Rovers 84-85 section. Over to you, Ian.
Thank you very much, Gol. And yeah, it's great to be presenting this one. And I'm hoping now that this thing on the screen disappears so I can read it properly. The technology, eh? But yes, it is 1984 to 85. And if someone else can read that chapter number for me, because something on my screen is actually covering it. It's season number.
Part
Oh,
917.
917. Sorry, you've moved on. You've just gone on a page.
I have. Season
Part
9. Season 9, that's
nine,
right.
yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Otherwise now known as Chapter 9, The Curse of Carlos,
Ah.
which is your first chapter reveal for what it'll be called in the book.
Ah.
It's going to be called The Curse of Carlos. So yes, 27th of August 1983 to the 18th of August 1984, still every Monday. Price guide, issues 406 to 428 cost 22 pence, and issues 429 to 456 cost 24 pence. So one of the biggest changes that the comic has seen so far happened in the first issue of the season, and for me, is not a positive one. The Roy of the Rovers strip remained at 4 pages, but the second and third pages of each strip were on page 203 in black and white.
Yeah.
Now, part of this strip's charm over the years was its full color, and this just didn't seem right, in my opinion. The plot was still good, brilliant, in fact, just not the look. So in issue 409, dated 15th of September 1984, Roy celebrated his 30th birthday. Well, in reality, he was turning 45 years old, and we were celebrating 30 years of the comic strip. Mind you, my 12-year-old self sussed this one out. The birthday card in the comic, I wrote feedback to a message to that extent. I wrote, "Congratulations on 30 years of being published, or playing for Manchester Rovers," or something like that. There were still reprints of Simon's Secret that went on till the end of the season, ending just 2 parts before its original conclusion.
Wow.
This year's Christmas guest was Mark Haitley, just an unsigned centre page spread, and how nice that would have been if it was a sign, please, in a Christmas outfit. But there we go. Okay, so as usual, I'm do my favorite stories from best to worst, and it is the title strip in this one because it really is brilliant, and a lot's going to happen in this season. It's a long review, and so I think this is probably the most enjoyable in the strip's history. So much the talk before Christmas was whether Roy would play for England for the first time since 1978, if you remember Roy's England.
Yeah,
I do.
Yeah, Bobby Robson was thinking about selecting him for a match against France early in the new year, but nothing about the England matches in October and November. And all this talk started in September, and you might play in France in February. Okay, well, fair enough, But perhaps he didn't want to upset the apple cart for those matches because they were competitive matches, and he's preparing to blood some players, even 45-year-old players, 30-year-old players, whatever, in a friendly match. Initially, Roy's left out the squad, but he's selected when another player is injured after an accidental on-field clash with Roy. At Melchester, Roy's set to have goalkeeper problems. Charlie Carter turned up at Roy's house for supper on Christmas Day, and Roy Jr. started to play football with him in the snow. But Charlie slipped and banged his arm on a wall, and that put him out for the season. It basically ended his regular football career in there.
It did.
Yeah.
Walter Williams has flu, so the only option is to call up youth team Andy Streaky Styles, who had just returned from a spell in North America. However, Streaky doesn't have the best of heads, and youth team coach Nat Godson, good to see him mentioned after this time, he wants to let him go as he's too eccentric, but he plays in the FA Cup third round at 3rd Division Ramsden Town. Streaky's fouled before conceding the before conceding the first goal, but no one believes him, and due to his antics, the goal stands. To have TMO. Roy was injured in that tie that they lost 1-0, but he still elects to line up for England alongside his teammates Carl Hunt and Neville Jones against France later in the month. However, one of his old rivals, Carlos Villa, is coaching France, and he has a little plan to deal with Roy, one that pretty much worked. Roy did get the goal in England's 1-1 draw, but was crocked, putting him out of the next round of the European Cup Winners' Cup. We didn't see the earlier rounds before Christmas, by the way. Roy turned up at Mel Park, walking with a stick and with a new hairstyle. Now, this was actually mentioned and ribbed at in an edition of Carrot Confidential on BBC One. I can remember exactly what Jasper Carrot said. What's Roy Race saying these days? Nice haircut, Ian. And he did say Ian, by the way. That wasn't me saying because I'm Ian. Yeah, that was his exact words, and I loved that at the time. But another problem's cropped up. Over the last few months, Streaky's got himself a fan club, and it starts to affect the 18-year-old's mentality. This storyline, ahead of its time, is dealt with really well, with no pressure being put on the player to actually turn out because his head wasn't right. So Rovers do reach the European Cup Winners' Cup final and to face Real Santana, coached by Carlos Villa, who was also the assistant in France. They got through after it was Santana, got through after beating Scottish club Glenmore Rangers, but only because of the use of over-the-top tactics, one of which put Duncan Mackay's brother in hospital. So Duncan looks for revenge in the final, which was coined as the Battle of Brussels, a name, sadly, that didn't age well. It was a classic match where Rovers, playing with extra strapping on their legs to avoid serious injury, are 2-0 down at half-time, but they draw it level at 2-2 on 90 minutes. Villa is sent off from the coaching during extra time for pushing a match official. Probably got a long ban for that, let's face it. Just before Duncan misses a penalty in regular time in extra time. The remainder of extra time is played in good spirits, but it ends 2-2 after 120 minutes. So it goes to spot kicks. Duncan Mackay scores the first kick. I'm sure there's going to be commentary on this somewhere on the archives, isn't there?
Yeah, there is.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, indeed. Yeah.
But in the shootout, Streaky saves a kick, and in the end, Blackie Gray converts the fifth for Rovers to win 5-3.
Oh, wow.
Now, Rovers go to play in the European Super Cup, which for some reason is being played in Japan for the first time. Normally,
that was weird.
Of the World Club Championship.
So, yeah, I'm pleased you said that because that's what I remember reading that at the time and thinking, well, no, actually, that's where the World Club Cup is normally played. But yeah.
Yeah, so it's probably going to be the last match there as well because it's affected by crowd trouble.
Yeah,
not by Rovers fans. And as Rovers were banned from Europe, I don't know if they were banned from Europe by that time, but they still were.
Yeah.
But anyway, Rovers are down to 9 men in the end due to injuries, and it's all too much for them. Dynamo Dresden win 4-3, and Dresden will foil Rovers again in the future. Mervyn Wallace and Taffy Morgan both choose to leave Rovers. Mervyn Wallace being a player, of course, Taffy Morgan being the long-standing coach. Don't know how many years, must be about 30 by now. He was the trainer there. So a tribute match against the 1969 Manchester Rovers European Cup winning side, plus Mervy, Taffin and Paco Diaz, takes place. The Oldies win 4-3, and Roy questions the strength of his current squad and thinks about signing two men who are known to every British football fan in the British Isles. So there we go.
Is it Martin Kemp and Steve? No, sorry, I'm jumping ahead. No,
Yeah,
jumping ahead. Stop me.
Wait for part 10. Wait for chapter 10. Come on.
Mate, you do know it. It's on the tip of your tongue.
True.
Next for me is goalkeeper. The whole of 1984 to 85 season, in the comic anyway, as I think it takes place in the future, only covers a period of a couple of months. To start, Jimmy Rockwell pulls Rick out the crowds to play in goal against League and European champions Brickpool. No idea who they're meant to be based on, but it's in a charity match and he plays exceptionally. However, like safest hands in soccer, this story goes off on a tangent, probably due to artist delivery problems. There's a one-off in issue 412 which shows Tynefield playing against an Italian side. There's no story in issue 413. Then in issue 414, a brand new story starts. Rick is selected for the first team again, but this time in a six-a-side tournament where Tynefield, in what was probably a competition held before the next season, beat Brickpool again. Now, Brickpool, I reckon, I'm personally basing them on Blackpool. I know they're meant to be Liverpool, but we've got Everpool, we've even got Redpool. So for me, they're Blackpool. And maybe Brickpool in the future. They do really well and get promoted and all that kind of thing. So on to issue 422. And we're back to the morning after the charity match, which ended in issue 411. A positive newspaper article brings brings him to the attention of the England youth team manager who's going to watch their next match. Now, Rick is told to change his style by their temporary coach, Noel Bishop, but he refuses. Now, after that game, Rick is selected for England for the forthcoming European Youth Championships in Spain. So Bishop organises a friendly match against the side with a known thug, Killer Cans, to try and injure Rick. Cans nearly succeeds, but he ends up crocking himself and drops Bishop in it. So Bishop gets the sack.
Killer
Now,
cans.
Rick's
Brilliant.
exploits in the European Youth Championships in Spain takes a full 25 issues to
Wow.
tell. Like I say, all of this 84 to 85 season comic-wise only takes about 2 months of narrative. There are thugs at the airport waiting to see, or they're thugs in Spain anyway, waiting to see the son of Gordon Stewart, offspring of a treacherous toad. And they nobble Rick early on to make sure he's knocked over by a motorcycle, so he misses England's first match. Rick finally gets his chance in the second group match, coming on as sub when the first choice goalkeeper is injured. But after that, he's kidnapped by the thugs. His kidnapper's brother, Pepe Blasco, was a promising player in Spain, and his side came up against Tynefield City one year. Gordon Stewart actually then recommended Pepe to a first division club in England, Pepe being the kidnapper's brother. Pepe signed, but he was involved in a car race that ended in his death. Rick's kidnappers blame Gordon Stewart for this, as he was the person who recommended Pepe to go to England. So we got the story. Now all Rick has to do is escape. So he escapes by pole vaulting the electric fence, as you do. But his kidnappers chase after him. They were serious about sorting him out, and Rick has to use all his goalkeeping skills to dive out of the way of the bullets that were meant for him.
Wow.
Eventually, the police catch up with the villains, and the Rick keeps on running all the way to the football stadium so he can get into his kit and help England win. So
no PTSD there then.
What's that? Sorry, God?
No PTSD there then.
No, at least not. Maybe he's still too much in shock. I got to do it. I got to do it. I got to do it. And we're told now that a new season begins for Rick at Tynefield next week. So finally, after 18 months of where I reckon in the 18 months of the goalkeeper, maybe more, only about 4 months of narrative is actually done. They will go year by year after this.
Okay.
Just before you move on, though, it's interesting. Yeah. It's nice to actually have a kidnapping that has reason to it, because I'm still trying to figure out why Mickey Jordan and Kingsback got
Mickey
kidnapped.
Jordan. Oh God.
The Flash.
Yes, absolutely. We're missing Bygone, by the way. I think he's fallen off the podcast, but hopefully he'll be back.
He's got to get another banana. He'll be back.
Yeah, exactly.
Next for me. Next.
Oh, there he is.
Next for me is the
Oh, calm down, Podfather. Calm down.
Are you all right, Go? Are you okay?
It's amazing, isn't it? This season start. We'll explain why you're saying calm down now, but this season starts with some high drama, which wouldn't have looked out of place on TV, and with some great artwork. Not the one that I'm showing on YouTube. There's more great artwork before this. Johnny and Victor escape a fire that was burning down the Danefield grandstand. When Victor was fully fit, because him and Johnny have to go to hospital for a bit, he sets out to plan a new stadium for Danefield. Definitely necessary, as in another match there's a further disaster when a floodlight, weakened by firemen's hoses, falls onto the pitch. Now, for those watching on YouTube, this leads to some outstanding artwork with a full page showing the floodlight falling onto the pitch. The usual jovial atmosphere of the Hard Man has now changed, for this week at least, as the rest of the week's episode shows players and fans joining together to lift the pylon to rescue trapped fans. The strip does say miraculously no one was killed, as I think that would have been a bit too far at this stage anyway, seeing fans killed. And for once, Victor Boscovich was speechless. So Danefield temporarily get a new temporary ground in the local Speedway Stadium with an artificial pitch in the centre. But twice a motorcyclist protests against football being played there, the second time being against Lampdoria in the European Cup. His motorcycle crashes into the goal at that time, setting it on fire, forcing the referee to abandon the match. And as a result, typical UEFA, Danefield are thrown out the competition.
Unbelievable, isn't it? I mean, talk about being picky.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Burned down the goal. That's right.
the
What,
UEFA.
what's wrong with speedway bikes on the football
I
pitch?
know. I mean, the
I'm a
game's
bit
gone.
confused. Yeah,
Game's gone.
Yeah,
exactly.
it's
Madness,
gone.
madness, I tell you.
Yeah. So I've
Just
just
to add before Ian continues, obviously everyone reacted when that came up. I've mentioned obviously many times in the past about how that affected me, and
okay.
it's one of my major memories of reading back then. It was just incredible, incredible.
That's good.
You
I'm
you you, you
glad
wouldn't
it's
go near a floodlight, would you, for 20 years, would you, Carl?
No, I mean, I try and swerve Plainmore Torquay United's floodlight. Believe me, just in case.
well, you are right. I mean, such a thing could affect a child reading that. And when they go to their local ground next week, oh, I don't want to sit near the floodlights. We know near the floodlights. We got to get away from here just in case. You never know. It could have
You
affected
never know.
people. Yeah. Carrying on with the hard man, Johnny is approached to sign for an Italian club owned by the mafia, and he promptly disappears. So Victor has no option but to select 16-year-old Tony Burns, who he snatched before Melchester could sign him. So good crossover there. Johnny is taken to Italy but refuses to sign, saying he won't be bullied, unless it's by Victor, of course. So the Italian mafia boss has him arrested. Victor goes to Italy to try and rescue him. In the end, both, to the grateful thanks of the Italians, get deported. Danefield, sporting a new strip that made them look a bit like Southampton of the 1980s, moved back into their brand new stadium, completely rebuilt a mere 7 months after it burnt and collapsed. Only the Dragon's Lair in Dream Team was built quicker. Danefield, which was Millwall, of course, Matt.
Yes, it was. It was. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Danefield win their last 3 games of the season to qualify for the UEFA Cup, but Johnny won't get to play in that competition. During a summer tournament in Spain, he was sent off and suspended. Danefield won the tournament without him, and after the team returned home, Johnny put in a transfer request, and with his surprise, Victor accepting. The only offer that comes in for him was from 4th Division Burnside Athletic, who finished bottom last season and had to apply for re-election 3 times in the last 4 years. So that is the end of the strip, The Hard Man, but Johnny Dexter's adventures will continue in Dexter's Dozen. And can you remember the former Manchester Rovers player who had signed for them?
Yeah, Terry West, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's right. Who apparently Johnny used to watch when he was a kid. We'll learn a bit more about that, of course, in my next edition.
In all seriousness, sorry to interrupt there, both of you. I genuinely think, you mentioned about they've sought re-election three times, etc. And we're talking, mid-80s, and I'm sure that Burnside were kind of based on Torquay, because at that time they spent 3 or 4 years seeking re-election. So there might be a slight link to that, but I'm just saying.
Could well, you never know. You never know.
I just find it amazing that nobody would have wanted to sign Johnny Dexter, who's probably at that time about 25 years old.
Do you know something, Bygone? It's really interesting.
Okay.
I find that amazing. And we were talking about goalkeeper, and sorry, I did mean to mention this at the end.
All right.
I remember reading it originally, and Rick kept on making these odd appearances for the first team. Was absolutely outstanding, and he kind of always had the reason for him not to be at that club. But you'd think surely any other top division flight off 2nd division manager would have been interested. And like Bygone said there, this is Johnny Dexter, that basically the same season or the season before is an England international and winning trophies at Danefield. But the only club that's interested is one that's struggling for re-election. It is, But do you know something? We still lapped it up, right?
Yeah. And you can read about that, as I say, in my book, in the chapter which will be called
Ballet. Have you got a book coming out, Ian? You haven't mentioned
I may have done. Oh, well, maybe I'll mention the name of the chapter next time.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
What's the book about, Ian?
Next one, Mighty Mouse. Kevin Mouse, who loses houses more often than Barnes United loses grounds, is forced to move out of his hospital room as Horace, who is the nephew of Dr. Mender, is living there. After ejecting a chicken coop, Horace tricks Mouse into moving into Dr. Mender's plush new room, which Trump is probably modelling his new ballroom on. After being chucked out, Mouse checks into the Grand Ritz, sending the bill to the hospital. But he's living back in lodgings again after Mender watches him win a match, and Mouse is appointed head student, which is only right after all the years
he's been here years. Yeah.
At Tottenford, new signing Brian Popson, no idea who he's based in.
Brilliant name.
Yeah,
Yeah.
doesn't get along with Mouse. Manager Bob Bully knows he needs to choose. He needs to choose to keep one of them and get rid of the other. He chooses Popson. So Mouse pitches himself to other clubs, but keeps getting rejected. But he gets a phone call from Chelsea. Again, one of these times where real names come into it, but there is
Yeah.
some humor about it because of that, who want him to play against QPR. However, Mouse doesn't know it's a very small club called Chelsea, spelled Chellsy, who are due to play against Quality Pies and Rissoles.
Rissoles, blimey, that's what takes me back. Rissoles. Did anybody ever have rissoles when they were
I
growing up?
did at the time. I did
Vague
at the time
memory.
growing up, yeah.
I would like to know what was inside them, but they are nice.
They were our generation's turkey swizzlers.
Oh, yeah. After this team called Chelsea does well, Tottenham are losing and the fans demand Mouse back. Bully is threatened with the sack, so naturally he begs Mouse to return. Mouse comes back after Popson is transferred, but after getting new football boots, his shooting's off target. So kind of a reverse Billy's boots, really. He does, however, manage a header in St. Victor's latest game, and they win 1-0. As a reward, they're treated to a meal where the waiter, a former footballer, advises Mouse to sit with his boots on in water to mould the leather to his feet. It works, and Mouse has his shooting skills back. I wonder if this is really a thing. But Mad Annie has had enough of Mouse, and she gives him extra work to force him to resign. When that doesn't work, she says to Dr. Mender, either Mouse goes or she does, and Mender agrees that she's more influential, and Mouse is now out. Officially 100% out. There are changes at Tottenham too. Excuse me. Despite only being accepted back into the side, Mouse is now being told he's being replaced and he needs to find a new club again. There is some consolation, though, as Mouse has won the club raffle with a first prize of a trip to Iceland to watch that country take on Scotland. There he befriends Scotland's centre forward Hamish Balfour, who invites him for a trial at his club Prince's Park. And that leads us on to Hotshot Hamish and Mighty
Really?
the first ever merger of sorts
Yeah.
in the comic. So Hamish takes Mouse back on. Hamish wants to take Mouse back on Scotland's team plane, but the manager, Mr. McBossy, refuses to let him on. It's not a great start to the partnership, but when they do get back, Mouse impresses the Prince's Park boss, Mr. McWhacker, and he's taken on. He also manages to get in as a medical student at St. Duncan's Hospital, where he's working under fierce matron Horrible Hilda, who has heard all about him from Mad Annie. Not sure how she's heard about him from Mad Annie. I mean, do these matrons, this is before WhatsApp, do matrons, how do they have a group in that way?
It was, yeah, it wasn't a brilliant advert for the NHS, was it really? When you think about it, and I know, Bygone, you're in the NHS, but do you have many Horrible Hildas or Mad Annies around? You don't need to answer that.
I was going to say maybe don't answer that.
Maybe don't answer that. I'm sure they ended in the 80s. Sure, they all ended in the 80s.
Yeah. Mouse is on the bench for his debut, which is the right thing to do, to be fair, rather than shoving straight in the team as a new player. I quite like that. But he's the debut is the Scottish Cup final, but he does come on and he scores 2 goals in their 3-2 win, Hamish getting the other goal. The player on the opposite wing, Wee Wally Campbell, is jealous of the new partnership. But when he's asked to pose for a photo with Hamish and Mouse at the end of the game, he accepts it all and the tricky trio are born. So the 3 pals go on to holiday to Kenya in the summer, all paid for by the club, and they decide to help a local side, Pongi FC, save their pitch as local toff Colonel Gore Blamey wants to turn it into a bowling green.
This is just brilliant. I've reread this recently. It's absolutely fantastic.
Fred Baker, brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah.
He's great. Extra stuff for Fred, brilliantly. When they return, Mouse is appointed as sports director at St. Duncan's Hospital, which means he has to coach lots of people in a variety of sports. Horrible Hilda wants to be the tennis champion this year, but Mouse doesn't know anything about the game. He doesn't even know which team bats first. On to the next one now.
Sorry. Before just a couple of things on that. You know how we say certain things stick in our memory and what's going on about the Danefield one. There's 2 things. The artwork, that I don't know why, that panel when Hamish stands in the rain and the Scotland team are get on the plane. Yeah. That artwork has always stuck with me, and you've got the tall Hamish and the small mouse stood by him, and Mouse is looking up to Hamish and saying, "Oh, what he's a true pal," because he refuses to get on the plane because they won't let Kevin get on. But the other thing that all actually upset me was when they have the panel showing Wee Wally Campbell to the side, and Hamish says, "Well, I never forget my friends." Well, actually,
Yeah.
they completely forgot about English forward Freddie Perkins. So, because Princess Park had a forward line trio of Perkins,
Okay.
Balfour, and Campbell, and we never see Perkins again. So, sorry.
Yeah, that's all right. No, I actually think as well that Ivan Reitman, the director of the film Twins, based his story on
Yeah,
Hamish and Mouse.
Yeah.
probably. Yeah,
Maybe he
I
was
From
a
reckon
that
Roy of the
one
Rovers
panel that
fan.
I remember. Yeah, actually.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Danny DeVito could have been Kerry Mouse. Yeah.
easily,
Yes.
easily. Durrell's Palace next, and it's the final season of Durrell's Palace. And whilst it's been enjoyable, I'm going to hide a bit here now. I think a change was needed. The story appeared to be running out of ideas. We left them in the middle of the
Well,
Gold Cup.
since when has that ever stopped a story, though, to
I
be fair, though?
Surely
Tommy's
they could have
troubles are
lost
pretty
their ground
space.
again.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, yeah. No, yeah, I get it. I get it. Yeah.
We left them in the middle of the Gold Cup final, which was meant to be like the big non-league cup
Oh,
final,
yeah.
the winners of the local non-league cups. They win it at Wembley, but there's bad news at the start of the season as their chairman, Beverly Diamond, moves to the USA and puts the club up for sale. I think he's had it for about 6 months. And
Yeah.
it's bought by the council who wanted it for housing. So sorry, I say going to be Barnes United there.
Slip of the
It very
tongue,
much
yeah.
something on it. So Palace are relocated once again, this time to a disused rubbish dump. And in DIY SOS style, they enlist the help of locals to spruce it up, or
Maybe
basically
was Nick
build a
Knowles
football.
reading Roy of the Rovers then? And maybe he got the idea for the TV show, do you
Yes.
think?
Absolutely, yeah. Basically, though, they've got to build a football ground from scratch in less than a month. The ground doesn't appear to be up to standard at the start of the season, though. Come on, 1 month. Yeah, do you expect it to be? I mean, I was actually at the first. I was actually in Sri Lanka, in Gaul, in the first game back, test match back after the tsunami, and
Oh,
we were sitting on hotel seats that they'd imported in for the event.
Wow, yeah.
So yeah, it is tough. The ground, so the players have to wash in a trough, by the way, in this Darrell's Palace ground. But the rest of it looks like basic non-league fare to me, so fair enough. The first match there, where fans complained as though there was no stand and they got soaked, again, basic non-league fare, was a 3-3 draw. However, Ernie Potts, who now runs the local cafe, a former player for those who remember, does well with his portable catering. So Dan Wayne, manager, looks for 10 grand for improvements. He's awarded 5, so he has to think of fundraising events to get the rest. He organises a bed race in the town on the morning of a match, and thankfully, no one is injured. But the troubles continue, of course. Whilst winning an away match in the Southern Area Cup, the changing rooms at the new ground, a couple of temporary caravans catch fire. They're not there at the time, they're away, and the caravans are at
Yeah.
home. The pitch can still be used, but the ground is declared unsafe for fans. So a local TV company offered to film and live stream the next match. Yeah, I know it was an expression in those days, but that's what they did. They live streamed to a town hall, to the town hall onto a big screen. With players leaving due to work and others playing arriving, the season plays out as standard fare. Palace retain both the Southern Area Cup and the Gold Cup, although not at Wembley and not named as such this time. And they actually win the Gold Cup, whatever it was, after a shootout. But a new club started in the area, and one with money called Durrell's United. Now, why these people didn't want to invest in a successful side like Durrell Palace, and why many of the fans and players suddenly want to jump ship is beyond me. But a new motorway route is being planned through the ground, and I'm sure this might have had an influence on neighbours in 2025, the way they were planning to end that. So a new motorway route is being planned. It's going to go through the Palace ground. So that's it for the club and the comic strip. We are told, though, an exciting new challenge for Dan Wayne begins next week. So it's great that he's still going to be in Roy of the Rovers comic.
Yeah, we don't want to give spoilers, but it's quite interesting to see the Johnny Dexter and then the Dan Wayne. Very different movement of direction there.
It is, because the start of the 85 to 86 season, as you know, is a massive new look. It's probably the first proper revamp that they ever had. But I'm guessing they still wanted to keep 2 popular characters in while revamping their stories, basically. So next for me is Tommy's Troubles, and there's trouble ahead for Tommy as usual. Waller has been appointed as prefect by the new head of year, Mr. Hardcross, just because Waller is a big lad. You're a big lad, you'll do as a prefect. And the Barnes United side are also being forced to play rugger again, as Hardcross knows nothing about the previous arrangements that they're allowed to play, not allowed to play rugger in school, and they can play soccer. But thankfully, it's only in classes; they're not being forced to play for the team. So Barnes United can still continue. But now Waller was a prefect. He was determined to make life difficult for the team, giving them penalty points, knowing if they get 4 in a week, it's Saturday detention. Waller and Swake keep being dicks, but they're counter-tricked at Christmas after Barnes United invite them to their party, but they sent them to the other end of the town, giving them the wrong location. Waller resolves to get Tommy Barnes for good in 1985 and draws faces on all the sides' footballs, threatening that the Avengers are coming. One of their ploys is to get rugby dropout Soapy Sampson to play in goal for United. But he ends up playing the game well and being treated nicely by his new teammates, and he wasn't used to being treated nicely. Despite all the antics from Waller and Swaite, Barnes United win the Council Cup final 3-2 after extra time. Now, during the summer, Tommy organises a 5-a-side competition, and Barnes United are drawn against Crowhurst School, a side organised by Waller and Swaite. United easily win, but exit in the second round. When they get back to school, they find out the side has been entered in a school cricket competition. And again, they have a second round defeat in that. The problems continue when Waller and Swaite somehow convince the council that Barnes United are leaving their ground. The council, without checking on anyone from the club, rent it out to a girls' hockey side. They eventually get told they might be able to use another disused ground, Simpsons Fields, but can they get it up to scratch for the new season? Now, there are artist issues as the postscript here. There are artist issues this season. And in issue 428, we had what could only be described as a missing adventure. Now, it was advertised as a complete story about Barnes United advertising for reserve players, but actually it's between the stories printed in issues 375 and 376 exactly a year earlier. I'm not sure why that part was omitted, but perhaps it was lost in the post, or maybe there was an error, but it doesn't distract from the narrative at the time a year before. So it's amazing that they actually didn't print it then. They had it in reserve and they managed to make it a complete story. I think maybe the last panel was probably erased or something, but it certainly worked. And a reprint of the first part from 1976 was in issue 429.
Yeah.
So
right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I remember that. I remember that, getting that comic, and it was like, what? Due to reader interest or much demand, we were just, as a one-off, you all wanted to know how Tommy's trouble started.
Yes.
Right.
So
Well, of course, it's coming over from Argentina, so maybe
there were things like that. And like I said, with this one that actually missed in 1984, then and no one ever noticed. It didn't distract from the plot at the time. No one noticed in it.
Good spot.
Missed, but it got redone or got put in. So I thought now was a good time to put in the action replay for next. It was a good lot. I don't give it high up my rankings because they're individual stories. They're pretty good though. The 3 more stories were continued in the 1984 to 85 season. For those not watching on YouTube, these were just limited part stories. They were about 3 parts each normally. 3 were done. I Am a Goalkeeper, issues 406 to 408. This was about young Paul Benson, who was a ball boy behind the goal for non-league Thorbury Town, but despite rejections, all he wanted to do was be a professional goalkeeper. Then there was The Man Who Didn't Make It, issues 409 to 411. Dave Thornton moved up from the 3rd division to the 1st, but he wasn't good enough. So he moved to Sealand Stompers in the USA, and then the England side arrived on tour. And the final one was called Jungle Pitch, issues 412 to 414. Young Clifford Bowster went out to Maritza, a Pacific island, where his father, who had been appointed governor there, helped the locals build a football pitch. But could they keep it? So 3 good stories there. Next for me, and I think I've only got 2 stories left now, so it's the penultimate one, The Legend. Brazilian legend Agostinho Carlos Henrique da Silva was known throughout the world as Da Silva. By the way, this story started this season. He played football in South America, Germany, Spain, and Italy, but his one remaining challenge was to play football in Britain. And he organises a match between Manchester Rovers and a World All-Star 11. And this legend is very much a big head. He insists on the penthouse in a London hotel, and if he didn't get it, he would have bought the hotel and sacked the lady at the front desk for her incompetence. He insists on Wembley Stadium for his match, not Dean's Park that was originally booked, and he lands on the pitch dangling on a rope from a helicopter. The match sees a nice battle of supremacy between De Silva and Roy Race, with De Silva eventually coming out on top as they win 5-4. But at the end of the game, De Silva is held at gunpoint. He's saved by a mysterious karate expert who turns out to be Peter Harvey, the manager of Second Division Highfield City. So De Silva decides to ignore all the top clubs, and I think we actually see some real life managers in the crowd.
I was going to mention that.
I'm sure Brian Clough was one.
Yeah, there was a panel with I think it was Joe Fagan, Clough, and a lot of the top managers at the time in a single panel watching him. Yeah.
And I think they actually ask him.
They're not named, but you can clearly see them by the drawings. By the
exactly.
Listen here, young man.
Hey, there he is.
Hey. So he signs for Highfield, a club with a 35,000 capacity ground, but they normally get only 6,000. And that was a kind of a regular attendance in the second division at the time.
Yeah.
A sellout is expected for De Silva's debut, though. He scores the winning goal in another 5-4 classic, thanks to a unique style of taking penalties, one that I tried and completely failed to emulate back in the day. I remember trying to do De Silva penalties in my back garden.
Oh, wow.
So now his evil twin brother Osvaldo turns up.
Oh.
He starts to impersonate De Silva around town, causing trouble wherever he goes, and then after a match, takes his brother on a drive and kidnaps him, locking him in the cellar of an old country cottage. So Osvaldo turns up to play a match in his brother's place. He's about to get taken off, though, because he's so bad, when the real De Silva, who's managed to escape, turns up and is still in his full football gear. Or rather, he probably changes in the dressing room. So it's a skills contest takes place, held in the middle of the pitch, with permission from the referee to decide which player is really the legend, who can continue player, and the loser will get arrested. Naturally, our legend easily wins. So De Silva takes Highfield City to Brazil to play in a friendly against his old side. The only issue is he's been selected to play for Brazil against England the same day. Now, would it have really been too much trouble to have the club match the day after? Since Brazil are playing, it's only a friendly, and this Brazil-England game's probably been organised for months. So anyway, he wants to play in both. So he organises a private jet so he can play in both matches. He flies the plane himself, by the way, but if it's good enough for Mark Hughes, it's good enough for De Silva. Although Sparky didn't actually fly the plane himself, like De Silva did. And for those who don't remember this, Mark Hughes actually did play for his club side in Germany and for Wales in the same day. Never happened these days.
Yeah.
So that's it. He scores a hat trick that helps them to a 3-3 draw, and that's where the story ends. So it starts and ends this season. For me, it was an average story. It could have got better, I think, with a tail next season for a charge for promotion or a cup run. But, with a revamp around the corner for Roy of the Rovers comic, I don't think it was given much of a chance to shine. I don't think it was too bad,
It was a story. I don't know. I always had a bit of a soft spot for this story. I don't know why. It's quite funny. Just to say, I've found that panel. There's 7 managers. I'm actually struggling, but definitely Clough, definitely Paul Sturrock, Ron Atkinson, and I think it would be Joe Fagan of Liverpool.
Yeah.
But there are 3 others.
Maybe send me that photo later. Send me a picture of it later. I'll stick it on the sites.
Yeah.
It's interesting. That was written by me and Vosper, that story.
Okay. By the way, those records that you got, I hope you photographed them all, because they're going to be valuable for them.
I'll talk to you about those later.
Just to mention the De Silva surname, of course, it would be very popular, but just an interesting fact, not football related or comic related, but Ayrton Senna's name isn't Ayrton Senna.
Okay.
It was Ayrton Senna De Silva.
Oh,
but
wow.
when he came to lower formula over here, he just dropped that part of his surname.
Of course, this happens in Brazil a lot, doesn't it? They go by either nicknames or shortened names. Pele and Zico for Arthur Antoine des Cambra, I think, was Zico.
I think it's you to say. Say it again.
Arthur Antoides Quambra or something like that. Arthur Antoides Quambra, something like
Oh,
that.
50p in the swear jar. Carry on.
Finally, for me, is Racey's Rocket. Set at the end of 1984. I know this because Carl Hunt's in the side, and he can only be there at that time. Roy scores the winning goal against Portdean, and then he races at Brands Hatch for charity. But after being involved in a minor crash, Penny tells Roy he's not to race again. But Roy, however, has caught the motor racing bug. In his first non-charity race, Roy crashes and injures his right foot. General Manager Ben Galloway warns Roy against racing again, but he's determined to do so, which I think is really hypocritical of him. As in the main strip, and this is why I didn't mention it in my review, he's given Jimmy Slade a telling off for crashing his new sponsored car. Roy is also seen opening a sports shop too, after being angry at Jimmy for appearing on a TV game show. So yeah, it's a bit kind of two-faced, Roy. This.
Well,
you can see why I've got issues with Roy.
Yeah, but you're both missing. You're both missing the point, which is quite clearly stated when he speaks to Jimmy. He has no issue, but he meant to ask the club permission, and Roy obviously did. He asked the current Melchester Rovers manager himself if he could do these things, and he gave himself permission, whereas Jimmy did not ask for permission.
Sounds
the general manager didn't give permission, has he? But he's still doing it anyway.
Sounds logical, but yes, you're right. So Roy's final venture in this is a 24-hour rally where he takes Penny as his co-driver. Now, it's great to see Penny so involved in this comic strip. She's normally confined to looking after the kids or walking out on Roy to go to Crete.
Yes.
But at one point, Penny is kidnapped. She's tied up and bundled in the car that her and Roy have been using late at night as the rivals try to nobble their chances in the race. Initially, Roy's rivals succeed and they win the race. But Roy, after finding out who it was, gets his revenge in his next race. He still hasn't given up on this racing, has he? Causing the two drivers, as they're racing individually in this race, to crash into each other. Roy extracts a confession out of them while they're in hospital, and justice is done. So there we go. Thankfully, this ended after 21 parts, as it was really poor. It was all out of character for Roy, including at one point, he made friends with Melbourne's Andy Jackson. And this would never happen, not even for a charity thing, which is what they were doing together. They were complete rivals, weren't they? So no, it was one of the comic's worst efforts, this one.
Yeah.
So that's it. That is my review of the 1984 to 85 season, The Curse of Carlos.
Wow, that's amazing. I mean, as you're right, you say, I think Roy of the Rovers was the best strip. I'm sure you guys want to come in after. What is interesting when I was flicking through them not so long ago was that every front cover was the Roy of the Rovers story.
Yeah.
There was no other stories, which that was a real change. I think it's the first season that had ever happened, really. It's another great effort, Ian. Thank you. That's superb.
No problem. Thanks very much.
Yeah.
Well done, Ian. Fantastic section. Thank you very much. I'm sure the listeners and the viewers enjoyed that. Just before we move on to the next section, we need to build up to this. I'm going to bring someone else in who hasn't got a section this time, and I've never heard him so quiet. He hasn't said a word now for 1 hour. So, hello, Bygone Berrigan. Hiya, how are you?
I'm good. Yeah, I'm just enjoying. I really enjoy that section because they're coming up to some good years of Roy of the Rovers comics. So I thought I'd be a little bit quiet and let Ian talk during that. But again, it's come to the point where Roy races again, doing me head in. So
well,
let's keep it quiet.
There was some really good stories. The artwork in a lot of the stories was really, really good as well, wasn't it? During that period. I know you say about goalkeeper, but the artwork still looked really sharp and on point. And obviously Jarrell's Palace and Hotshot Hamish and Mighty Moose.
This is why he doesn't talk.
That's I'm shutting up now.
I don't know why I bothered. Why did I bother?
I've got to say, it's a very interesting season. We've got to be careful but like you said, I mean, you alluded to it there. It's the first time I remember, Mouse and Hamish actually combining to a story, but then obviously seeing Johnny Dexter move into a new story, Dan Wayne move into a new story. I don't ever remember that kind of happening before. So it was a really interesting era for the comic, I think.
And I liked both of those. I liked Wayne's Walls, and I liked the name's completely gone out of my head.
Dexter's
The Bones.
Dozen.
Yeah, I like both of them. Really liked them. Although, anyway, I'll talk about that some other time when we next come up with those two storylines.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Bygone.
Yeah.
You'll have a section again soon, won't you?
Yeah, next pod, yeah.
Oh, bugger. All right.
He's on your side,
Okay.
Bygone.
But
Say again?
I said he's on your side, Bygone.
I'm on no one's side. I'm an entity all of my own. Entity. I didn't even say that right. Okay, shall we move on?
Yeah.
Thank you once again, Ian. That was absolutely brilliant. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, I tell you something. I think he's had to bring in new chairs because the amount of times he bounces up and down, he lifts off like Artemis 2 going into space. Excited. It's time for Paul Tangent Richardson and Champ We Are United Week 23.
Cheers, goal. Well, as the Podfather's just said there, yeah, Champ Spike Edition number 23. It's the 28th of July 1984. There's a picture on the cover. I'm not going to go too much. Obviously, the YouTube viewers can see it. But at the bottom, the cover, it says the headline, Fast and Furious European Football Action for United. As we turn the cover, though, there's that finally, I couldn't do a copy and paste because the season is just a month away, not over a month, just a month away. And this time, Joe's arranged a first team against reserves practice match. In the dressing room, we see Terry Evans, and he's got the wrong boots. Stan the kit man, though, is not on form. Benny Granger's got the wrong boots as well. It all allows Fred Remy to quit. What are you complaining about, Terry? I thought you had two left feet anyway. That's why you kept missing all those chances. And then Fred Remy momentarily said, right, let's get out on the pitch. But Benny Granger, I can't. These still aren't my boots. Remy, I wonder how you would have got back in 1978, Benny boy. We were due to play Hungarian side, and I'm going to struggle with this, Plavoda, away in the second leg of the European Cup quarter-final match. And it's that time for the pod. We can't quite do it on YouTube. The smoke or the wavy picture as we descend. Yeah. And we're now transported back in time. And we're told it was a miserable spring afternoon when we arrived in Plavoda. Obviously, Fred Remy relaying the story. Oh, welcome, Brave United. I'm Javelowski. It's assigned specially by the Minister of Sport to look after you. First, we stop at immigration control to have the passports checked. A mere formality. So Javelowski informs United manager Ron Boston. But of course, that is where the troubles began. The passport officer. There is something strange here. Yours is not the same face as in the passport. This face is pleasant. You are ugly. Tug Wilson, ugly? Hold on, Fred Remy, as you can imagine, smiling. Easy, Tug, the man's only telling the truth. Javelski steps in, but he is the famous Tug Wilson. He has face like gorilla with squashed nose. Again, Fred Remy. Yeah, he has nightmares just looking in the mirror, mate. Manager Ron Boston. Look, Tug, I know it isn't easy, but you have to try and look pleasant. Tug Wilson. Okay, boss, I'll do my best. Very and an hour dragged on, and then they're into the baggage search, and now we've got another officer. He's holding up a shirt, and this is the latest fashion in England. Once more, Fred just can't help himself. Leave it out. Joe's the only bloke I know with enough courage to wear a shirt like that. We're informed 3 hours later. Crikey, 3 hours. They're eventually released.
That's what it's like now, isn't it? Trying to get through
well,
Brexit.
it will be soon. Yeah, I'm going to find out tomorrow. But anyway,
right.
And they get out, and now they see that there's a coach there. It looks appalling. It really is. I think you like to call them charabangs, right?
It is.
Now Fred informs twice the players had to get out and push the coach in the pouring rain. And as they're pushing it, suddenly there's a great panel when we see Fred Remy. He just falls into the rain. Me blooming new trousers. I just bought them last week. Now it's Tug Wilson's turn. Come on, Fred. You've got to look on the funny side of things. And I think it's hilarious. Ha, ha. Well, Fred informs us that it's well after midnight when they reach the hotel. The team obviously tired after pushing the bus, but in the early hours of the morning, drilling noises, hammering, and as they started building works across the street, the angry United players and manager emerged from their rooms. Ron Buster, this is a deliberate plan to ruin our night's sleep, Javolski. Javolski in what can only be described, and this is if you get a chance to see this, if you're just listening on the pod.
Yeah.
He's in what I can only describe as a Dickens Scrooge. He's got the like hat with a bobble,
Wee
like,
Willie
hat
Winky,
on,
isn't he?
yeah,
Yeah.
Willie Winky. Yeah, it's just fantastic. And he's, no, Mr. Boston. Building work was meant to stop while you were here. I shall contact my superior. And then this next bit is just brilliant from Javolski. So he informs Mr. Boston. My superior has contacted his superior, who contacted his superior, who will contact the Minister of Support. We'll have a solution by tomorrow evening. Ron Boston, he's not very happy at the moment. You'd better, or I'll be reporting this matter to the European football authorities. I found that interesting as well. Didn't mention UEFA, but the European football authorities. When then informed, Fred goes on, he said, that morning we arrived at the training ground and Ron Boston, where to train on that? A bed of cinders. Javolski, but Mr. Boston, sir, I had it rolled for you just this morning. Tug Wilson, either that Javolski is the worst organizer in Plavoda, Joe, or he's a right crafty so-and-so. Joe Pearson, you could be right, Tug. One thing's for sure, we're certainly getting messed about plenty. But the players, they get on with training, and Fred passes to Joe Pearson, and Pearson on the ball, he yells out to Shenton to get ready for one of these specials. And he powers the ball past Shenton. But, my eyes, you idiot, Joe. You've kicked right into them. Andy Bates is straight there and he's washing them out. But Bill is saying that his vision is blurred. That's enough for the manager Ron Boston. No more training on this pitch. We'll go and find some grass. Well, we move on. That evening at the hotel, Javolski informs them that he has solved the problem of the building works. Manager Ron Boston. Oh, are we moving to a moving hotel then? No, I forced my superior to put in a special order for cotton wool and earmuffs. These things are very hard to find. Just, unbelievable. I think Javolski, though, has found Ron Boston's breaking point with that. Boston, his panel, he's grabbed Javolski. Listen, Shrimp, either you get that right, that light work stopped, or I'll get your country's team banned from international football for good. Understand? Javolski, yes, of course. I'll see to it right away. And then he just disappears, and we see Fred Rimmy, Tug Wilson, and Joe Pearson sat around wondering where he's gone, a little bit bored. So they decide to go and look for him. They find him hiding, and he's saying that Javolski says, "Oh, my superiors, they're not happy with me, and all the complaints, and he'll be sent to the salt mines if there's more complaints to follow." The players go to see manager Ron Boston, who agrees that he's not going to put in any more complaints, although some of the players still feel, obviously, that Javolski, this is all part of the plan. Anyway, we move on, and it's 2 days later, and it's the big game. And there's Ron Boston in the changing room. Oh dear. Where's the kit hamper, Javolski? I thought you said you sent it ahead. I did, Mr. Boston, but it seems to have disappeared. But do not worry, I will borrow strips from local team. Tug Wilson, I warned you not to trust him, boss. And eventually some kit turns up. Oh dear. And this is obviously why Fred's telling the story. That the boots, I mean, Tug can hardly get his feet in these boots. They're far too small. And now obviously the United players, they've got on a different strip, a local team strip, and Tug's struggling with his boots as the team enters the field to boos from the Plavoda fans, though. Tug's complaining his feet are hurting. But Plavoda, the vocabulary were one up from the first leg, and they're straight on the attack. And it's a long-range effort. I must admit, I would expect Shenton to save this. But no, it's over his head. It's in. Oh, dear, it's 2-0 to Plavoda on aggregate, 1-0 on the evening. I'll tell you, I'm not sure what's happened there. We see Joe Pearson. He's getting the ball out the back of the net. And as he's asking, Bill Shenton informs him that his eyes are watering like anything. And he obviously can't see. Oh, it's not good news for United. And it's that moment in the comic. It's break time. And I like to read the headline at the bottom of the page. 1-0 down and 2-0 down on aggregate. Surely things can't get any worse. Don't you believe it? Turn to page 23 for more terrific football action. Well, obviously, we flick through the pages swiftly to get to page 20 through 23, and we see that the game's resumed. United 2-0 down, but they're trying desperately to get back into the game. And it's Joe Pearson to Fred Remy. Fred Remy, oh, it's a thunderous shot. Oh, God, no! It's thundered off the crossbar. Oh, hold on a minute. Clive Lyle is getting there. Oh, I don't believe it. That was a golden chance. Clive Lyle, he's blasted it wide. Oh, that was a real good chance for United to get back into this game. Well, now it's Plavoda attack now down the wing. And Tug Wilson's struggling in his boots, and he just can't keep pace with the winger. He's told tackle, but Tug just shouts out, "Put a tackle in! I can't even swing my blooming leg." But just as the Plavoda winger gets to the byline, oh, here's the United sweeper, Martin Lindsay, with a great tackle.
Oh,
Wow.
what a tackle.
What
Martin
a tackle.
Lindsay.
Martin Lindsay.
Same
Yes.
name as the licensing manager for DC
Yes,
Thompson, I
absolutely.
believe.
Wow, I don't
Absolutely.
know when artists or script writers or people appear. Who knows?
Mm.
But I can tell you this, it's a fantastic tackle from Martin Lindsay. And we're
Brilliant.
told we move, it's half time, and United obviously 2 down on aggregate. Boston is looking at Sub Wilson. His feet are not in great condition, and Boston's going to sub him. But just as he makes the announcement, Javolski appears with boots in Wilson's size, and he has eye drops for Bill Shenton from the Sports Minister's medicine captain. Boston, we really appreciate this, Javolski. We'll never be able to repay you. And at that moment, Javolski declares, "You can repay me by beating Plavoda. Anything that scores over this wicked regime is a bonus for my people." Tug Wilson, "Okay, Jay, you got it. My apologies for ever doubting you." So, well, a bit sort of Javolski there. Seems to be on United's side, but up until this point, you wouldn't really know it. But there you go.
Trusted him, but no.
Yeah. Anyway, so we're back to the action of the second half starts, and United, of course, 2-0 down on aggregate, but they're straight on the attack. And of course, now Wilson's got his right boots that fit, and he's given these a fantastic through ball to Clive Lyle, and Clive Lyle moves on to it. Oh, it's a strike! Yes,
Wow.
goal! It's 2-1. United are back into this. Magic from Clive Wilson there. Oh, dear, oh dear. I mean, I have to say, actually, reliving some of these memories, I do wonder what happened to Lyle, because in his last season at United, he certainly wasn't performing. But in these flashbacks, he certainly looks a player. What a fantastic finish that was. But as the match moves on, of course, Plavoda, they know that one more goal will surely seal this tie. And they attack down the wing with their number 7. He goes past Joe Pearson. Wow, he's got a great bit of skill there to beat Pearson. He swung the cross in. The Plavoda forward rises, but Shenton's there. No, oh my gosh, the Plavoda forward, he's elbowed Shenton there. He's taken the keeper out.
Oof.
Hold on a minute, the ball's in the net. Shenton's on the ground in a pile.
Wow.
That can't be given. That's a blatant elbow. No, the ref's given it.
No.
The ref's waved a goal. Tug Wilson's not happy. He's got words to say about that. So he's blooming rubbish referee. But the goal is given. I tell you something, that is clearly, he takes Shenton out there. I mean, I don't know if you're not on the YouTube channel for the listeners. I don't know if you remember 1998 England, Argentina.
Oh,
the
yeah.
Sol Campbell goal, Alan Shearer. You know, it was a lot
Yeah.
worse. It was a lot worse than that one. But
Thanks for
bang,
reminding me. Cheers.
took Shenton out, you know. Oh, well, so it's 3-1 now. Oh, 3-1 down on aggregate here. But United, they're showing fighting spirit. And Fred Remy, oh, he's on a mazy dribble here. He's beaten one. He's beaten
Fred.
two.
Go on,
He's
Fred.
fired in a great shot. Oh, what a save that is. A fantastic save by the Plavoda keeper. He's turned it round for the goal kick, for a corner kick there. Great save. Brilliant play by Fred Remy. Oh, and they swing the corner in. It's a deep one. Pearson! Yes! At the far post, United are back in it. Oh, what a team this is. What spirit they've got. And Pearson showing his captain. He's got his fist clenched and he's shouting and he's rallying his charges. Come on, lads. We're back in this game now. One more goal will win it for us. And the action moves on with the clock ticking. Oh, Plavoda on the attack, but Pearson, oh, he's intercepted the ball there, broken up an attack, and he's on the ball and he's moving forward. He's running at the heart of the Plavoda defence. He's got to the edge of the area. Clive Lyle, but there's defenders all around. Oh, it's a beautiful pass through, and Lyle, he's read it. What a pass! A defence splitting pass. Lyle, he's read it. He's latching onto it. The Plavoda keeper, though, he's off his line. He's advancing. Oh, Lyle! What a shot! What a death chip! It's a goal! United, the equaliser on the night. I tell you what, I cannot oversell this. It's a fantastic run by Pearson. It's a lovely slide rule pass. Lyle meets it, and I tell you what, I thought he was going to be put off. The Plavoda goalkeeper is brilliant there. Think of Schmeichel at his best. He's made himself big, but it's a deft chip over, and United, they're ahead on away goals. Fantastic display, and I can tell you that United did hold on, and much to the delight of Jaworski. Bravo! I'm over the moon, Mr. Boston. You see, I'm one of the state's worst organisers. That's why I was assigned to look after you.
At least he knows his place.
There you go. That's well. So there definitely was some shenanigans going on, but only just to make sure that the useless guy got the job. And Mr. Boston turns around to Jaworski. But their plan didn't work. Thanks to you, Jaworski. You saved the day for us. And we're back to the present day, and Fred Rimmy back in the changing room to Benny Granger. Yeah, we got through despite everything. Lack of sleep, no proper training ground, missing kit, grit in the keeper's eyes, and we went on to win the European Cup. And you complain about wearing somebody else's boots for training match. Granger, yeah, well, I mean, Fred, I was going to wear them, but Rimmy, I tell you what, a stern face, and he's got his finger out. Get out there! And that's the last panel in this week's Champ. Another fantastic retelling of the history of a match in United's past. And Fred Rimmy showing that he's the experienced head. And at the bottom of the page, next week, a fading football superstar makes a comeback for United. Brilliant. In a pre-season friendly, much to the disgust of young United player Toby Clark. So that's something to look forward to in episode 24.
That was a good one for the next week as well. Next week's one, who I know who that's going to be based on, the character in your next edition. But as for this one, brilliant as usual. Couple of things I wanted to say. First of all, isn't it great that they could find kit that almost looks like United's kit? They just draw an upside down chevron on it just to make it look different. Even the badge wasn't this similar.
It was funny, just for those of you podcast listeners, the kit that United played in, think of the United kit, but with the Princess Park V on it.
Upside down.
It's quite funny. Yeah.
Upside down,
it's quite funny.
And also, of course, this kind of storyline has been replicated a few times since then in We Are United, in the first picture story monthly or issue 2, the first time they're in it, in some kind of apocryphal UEFA Cup story. And it's been done in other ones before, which I've talked about.
I mean, I must admit, and we do kind of often go on about it, but if you hear some of the stories, I do think some of these, it might obviously be, I can't think of the word, but made bigger than it actually was. But I think if you do listen to some of the old managers and teams back in the day, certainly in maybe the 50s and the 60s, I think a lot of things did used to go on, shall we say. And I think even in this country, fans, if they found out where the football team, what hotel they were staying in, often had midnight vigils and sung outside the rooms and tried to keep players awake. So
I was just looking at that when his eyes were watering. Is it Phil Shrimpton, the goalkeeper?
Bill Shenton.
Bill Shenton, totally got that wrong. Is it because he's wearing tight shorts, do you think? They're not his shorts?
We've all been there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
One quick move, groin, lifting your leg up.
Well, it's quite interesting. He got grit in his eye 2 days before the match, but it was still affecting him some 2 days later after the training match on the cinders.
A bit of magic sponge in a certain area would have had.
Yeah, exactly.
Are we on about the eyes or something else now?
Yeah, which eye? I was going to say, which eye? Let's not go there.
Yeah. Podfather, come on, time to step in. Oh, sorry, Garm.
I was just going to say one more thing. It's just that goal. Thank God we got that defibrillator fitted into Champ Towers, because I was really worried about Tangent then. And at any moment, David Skew could just pop out of the closet and make sure he's okay if he just went too far. But great work. Great work.
Amazing. I'm looking forward to the in the future hearing the adventures of Phil Shrimpton.
I
Hey,
know. Do you know? Do you know? I know who Phil
Well,
Simpson is. I know why I've got it mixed up. Is
I
that
do as well, from Goalkeeper, wasn't it?
no, and also
Wow.
Phil's comics on.
Is it Phil's comics? That's the fellow.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's
Yeah,
so I'm
yeah.
giving
Also,
him a
I
shout
think
out.
Peter Shrimpton played for Oakhampton in Goalkeeper.
Yeah, I believe he actually also, but was that the name? He also appears in one of the stories in a Football Picture Story Monthly.
Okay, yeah.
That's where I'm probably getting it from.
And
Yeah.
also, isn't shrimp a
Tillman's.
type of seafood, isn't it, as well? Yeah.
Moving on.
Anyway, moving on. Go, where are you?
Come on, look, we've done
Yeah.
chocolate in a pod. Let's not go to sea crustaceans.
I'll get a bit fishy.
Okay. So, just to mention, if you want to get in touch with us, you can in all the usual places. We won't give all the socials out this time, but I'm sure we will next time in the next episode. But yeah, we'd love to hear from you because all of the hard work that the guys put in is very much appreciated by you. I know that. Right. It's the final section, so to speak, and it's all of us, really. And it's time for Collector's Corner. Like I said, we've built an extension for all of our comics at Champ Towers, and we're going to begin with the man that has only said 17 words in the whole podcast today. It's Neil, 17-word, Bygone Berrigan. What have you got lately?
I have been purchasing quite a lot to the annoyance of my wife.
Should I share? I'll share on the screen, shall I?
And so this is just a smidgen.
Sorry, can I just, sorry to butt in straight away, but Bygone, can I just check the wife is aware? Because
Yes, she
I
is.
have heard she's our latest subscriber to YouTube because she doesn't trust you anymore.
She's aware. She sees me squirreling in them away. So yeah, she's aware. She sees my bank balance. So I've just took a few pictures. If you're on YouTube, you can see the recent purchases. So I have purchased some more Roy of the Rovers monthlies, and a few of them replaced my current editions. And when I've been on Vinted recently because there've been some really good deals on Vinted, and I actually picked up a few of the more modern Roy of the Rovers monthly ones that would follow with a drastic new artist. So I'm looking forward. This is the first time I've ever owned an issue of that, so I'm quite looking forward to reading them. I've also purchased an All Action monthly. I've always wanted to own one of these. I've only known about these in the last year or so. So I might do a review of this All Action monthly, and it contains several stories, which is Talon of the Track, there's Races Rocket, and there's a couple of others here which is already discussed today, haven't we? Races Rocket, we've
Yeah.
discussed that. So I'll have a read through that and then I'll do a review on it because I don't think it has been featured before, and I think we've mentioned it a few times.
We've mentioned it. There was one that had the Marx Brothers story.
Yeah,
in
that's
it.
right. Yeah. But I am currently reading Roy of the Rovers, Tiger at the minute from 1970, and I'm up to 1975, and I've not read one story of Talon of the Track because I just disliked it. So I'll be interested if I quite enjoy it in this All Action monthly. Let me give it a go. The other thing, what I purchased today, Eagle and Tiger. I've never owned many of the Eagle and Tigers when they did the merger, and at a car boot sale today, there was 6 or 7 copies of Eagle and Tiger over the 1985 Christmas era. So I'm going to read that just for Billy's Boots.
Brilliant.
Hotshot
Yeah.
Haynes.
I have all of those. I was quite a big fan of that merger. I really liked it, and I have all of those merger editions.
Yeah, it looks really good. The artwork on a lot of them. It's just the paper
Because I had
quality.
Doomlord, of course, and I collect Doomlord.
Oh,
wow.
right. Yeah,
Yeah, I was a big fan of Doomlord back in the time. I don't think there's any Billy's Boots in there because
No, there
sorry,
is.
sorry, I don't think there's any Hotshot Hamish in
That's
there.
correct. That's
So
Oh,
correct.
right. Oh, well,
Yeah.
that went straight to Roy of the Rovers.
Oh, right, it did,
yes,
didn't it?
but
Yeah,
yes,
sorry.
there's Billy's Boots.
Yeah, but it's interesting because I think it's 21st of December, and you wouldn't believe this, but Billy has lost his boots.
No.
Well, I wasn't
And the
ready
one
for
that
that.
So, Bygone, I don't want to question your reading ability, but you sure you got that right?
I know. Well, I've just read in 1975, and in one of them, it just lost them there.
Something very strange happens to Billy in 1985 because when he actually goes to Roy of the Rovers comic, he actually starts growing up.
Yeah, I've just picked that up on one of the monthlies. I think he's 15 years old.
Yeah, that's right. He
Yeah.
starts off at 12 years old, and 3 years later, he's in the under 16s.
Wow.
Eagle and Tiger. Billy is in a foster home. It looks like he's been. So I can't. I don't know if
That's
he's.
yeah. His grand's been taken ill.
Oh,
That's
is that
right.
what it is? I've not
Yeah.
Yeah,
picked up on that.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right. The other thing I
Oh,
purchased
oh,
is also a Roy of the Rovers, lovely, which I'm going to use as my flight bag. It's a lovely Roy of the Rovers leather Gola bag. I've always wanted one of these, and I just thought
Brilliant.
Neil
That's
needs
great.
one,
Yeah. Mm.
so I bought one. Not also featured on it, I have bought some Tigers from 1982 and 1983 to try and fill my gaps. It's not that funny.
Turning
It
into
is.
tangent.
And
I
I
love
have
it. I
also
love it.
I have
That's
managed to buy I had like Gull, I love Hot Shot comic and I have got all the issues now. But what I was missing was the free gift from issue number one, and I managed to buy that off Vinted as well.
Oh,
So I've now
great.
got the complete the like quiz it is. It's a quiz where you move little sections
yeah.
of the free gift. So I'm quite
I
excited
mentioned,
about that again.
sorry to interrupt. I mentioned, about 10 podcasts ago that sometimes you can strike really lucky. And I managed to get issue one with that slidey thing still attached
Oh,
to
that's
Oh,
brilliant.
page
wow.
three, which
Yeah.
is, and it was a bargain. Sometimes there are bargains to be
Of
had.
course.
But what
I,
time?
I'm going to annoy all of you because it's amazing. I've never really been interested in any of the free gifts, and I've probably had all of them and just disposed of them or whatever. You're
Yeah.
all going to hate me.
No,
I was never a big fan, but when I've got all of, I know this is going away from bygone. Forgive me.
sorry.
Got all of the hot shots and the annual and the holiday special. So to just add to the collection to have that issue as well with that, I had to purchase it. But I
Yeah.
hear you, Stephen.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
heard him as well. Yeah, can't put it on the record.
He wasn't impressed, but he certainly heard me.
Unfortunately, also did all the listeners, but never mind. It's fine.
I went through this section and I still heard him. Carry
So
on, bygone.
So that's it. That's my collector. I'm sure they did. I have bought others, but they're off the top of my head because I do put them away and then file them up so they're all in running order. But I have done what you guys have done. I've now got a little spreadsheet with what I do actually need to stop myself buying
That's a
double.
good idea.
Yeah. You
You
have
do
to.
get impulsive, don't you? But I did
Yeah.
a car boot today, and I had a few comics like Whoopi and different things, and Buster that I
Oh,
picked
wow.
away. And I had four of my Champ comics in there because they were just my spares. And a little boy came along he must have been about 8 years old and got quite excited to see comics and football comics. So we bought
Oh,
them.
wow. That's good.
I thought
Tenner each.
Mm.
that's great, and it was going to be, just
And,
nobody.
and if you're listening, little Jimmy, and you want to come on board, then you're quite welcome to.
Yeah, give us a review. But it's just nice. Hopefully, he'll get interested in
That's
comics.
lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's it. That's my collector's corner.
Thank you very much. Sorry I interrupted there, Neil. Yeah, brilliant. What a haul that is. Well done. Right then,
Wish my
we've
wife
all
felt
got
the
some
same.
the collector's corner. Matt, mute button, Matt. Don't be mute. Let us know what you've got.
Okay. Well, first of all, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen because the Melster was corresponding
Oh,
with me
yes.
this week, and so he's had a bit of a purchase. So I'm going to share my screen.
Wow.
He bought some copies of Champion comic, and as we know, Champion kind of was the precursor to Tiger, really, because remember they were going to we first got that dummy copy in 1954, and it had Champion and it had Roy of the Rovers and stuff like that. Anyway, so you got some copies of Champion, and this what I'm showing on the screen for if you're not watching on YouTube, if you're just listening in, is the cover, and it's got a footballer who's parachuting into Wembley Stadium. The name of the story here is the Hobo Cup Fighters, and as the Melfster says, it's actually written by Rupert Hall, aka Edward R. Home Gall, who was the person that I don't know if you remember, but previously the Melfster bought a book called The Roving Rovers. There's also written by Edward R. Home Gall. But this is under his nom de plume, is Rupert Hall, and the same person also wrote Tubby Timms, goalie to the Fighting Fusiliers. So yeah, so on this one you can see that the guy in there is Steve Darby. He's playing for Kilbury Rovers. And yeah, it just purchased it, and it's quite an interesting little story. But you turn over the page, also as part of the story. So the team is from up north. And so when you actually read the story, it's got loads of kind of like northern terms. It says they came from Oop to Coop.
They came
They
up
came,
to
came
cup. They
for
come
to
up foot
Coop.
cup.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But anyway, but what Trevor says is that you see this advert here, which I've enlarged on the screen. See the adverts for the Champion Library, which was a
Okay.
story library, and it actually ran from 1929 to 1940, so the same size as the Football Picture Story monthlies, the Tiger
Wow.
Sports Library. So they were going on before they started adding pictures in. So there's an advert there which they've kind of cleverly incorporated into the actual story, because you've got two fans there for
Mm.
Kilbury Rovers, and they're saying
Oh, clever.
they couldn't get into the stadium, but as they brought their champion libraries, they didn't mind, and they're sitting down reading their champion libraries. So brilliant stuff. Thank you very much, Trevor. To the
Thank you, Trevor.
Yeah, so it's as a great purchase there for the mill. So I've got a few bits. I'll whistle through them quickly because I know we're kind of dragging on for time, but I've been purchasing a lot as well. Got a couple of annuals off of eBay. I've got Sculpture.
Nice.
1973, fantastic cover there. I think that's got Ian Kennedy. I think that's Ian Kennedy. I think it's the artist there.
Good, Nick, that is.
Yeah, very good, Nick. Got this from a local charity shop, which I pop, you pop into them, you think, oh, there's never anything in there, but you go in. Well, I got this for £1. I got the Scoop 1983 annual.
I think I had that
Wow.
once upon a time.
Oh right, yeah, okay. Well, it's actually got this guy has got guts in there. Story.
Yeah.
But the artist is Tony Harding, which is
Interesting.
obviously it's usually our friend Tangent. Our friend, our mate Barry.
Yeah, good old Barry. Yeah.
Good old Barry Bazza. But this is Tony Harding one. Sorry. Got this off of eBay. Red Dagger, the Blitz Kid.
Oh, lovely. And the Blitz Kid is part of the United verse, which we've touched on many a time.
Yeah,
Arnold Tabb.
Yeah, Arnold Tabb. So I've never read
Went on
this.
to play for Derby Rangers.
Absolutely. So I'm reading this. I think this is it's the reprints from, I think it's Hornet, I think in 1966. But so I got that. Sorry about this, guys. It's going on.
Oh, wow.
Bygone knows that I was on a call with him only about a week ago, and he said, "Oh, I've seen this on Vinted. It's going for £1." So it's the very first Roy of the Rovers monthly.
Yes.
And it went for £1 on Vinted.
I have to say something. Do you know what? I'm amazed what they go for. I always expect them to be expensive, the monthlies, and then they're not at all. I think the following wasn't there.
Sometimes they're expensive, but I mean, I think it depends on who's selling them. Really. And finally, the last thing I'll say is I got some stuff of again, it's Phil's comics from eBay, and I got some Football Picture Story monthlies. These are the two which David Skew was the artist for.
Brilliant.
So I've been after those for a while, but these are the ones which are actually from the DC Thompson archive. So whenever you get any of the stuff off of eBay, because Phil's comics are selling a lot of, they come with a little certificate which says it's come from DC Thompson archive. So that's nice.
Sorry, and the beauty of those, not just that certificate, but they're virtually like brand new copies. Yeah, they're virtually untouched. Because when I finished my collection from eBay, a couple of editions I'd got were quite well worn copies of Football Picture Story monthly. Yeah, and I was just happy to have them.
The certificate, absolutely, the certificate is actually signed by David Powell, who's the archive manager at DC Thompson, and by Phil Shrimpton, who used to play in goal for United. Did anybody know that? I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It was ousted by Bill Shenton, I believe.
Well, that's it. That's all me done. Go back to you.
Oh, I forgot as well. I forgot. I bought a Jag Summer Special.
I knew there'd be something. I knew it. I could see on his face he'd forgotten something.
Nope, you had your time. You didn't
buy it. You've got to send it back.
Next time.
Oh, well done. Thank you very much there, Matt. And so Tangent, do you want to let us know what you've got?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to. I might disappear for, but I'll go with. So it's already been mentioned, but amazingly, when I got back to my house on the Monday after last week meeting Ian and Barry, the post box had the Action release, the special, the 50th anniversary special. So that's that. And then I am going to mention this. I don't know because it's not, but I got the latest Judge Dread.
Oh,
I'm now
brilliant.
subscribed to this. But the reason I mention this is I have mentioned this story and I actually really like it. I mean, it's kind of football and sci-fi, but you've got Rock of the Red, although, um, and I'll just kind of show the cover there of the story. But this is now new story.
Wow,
So
that's really good.
they initially reprinted all the Rock of the Reds books, comics that I had in Judge Dredd, but now we've actually got new content from that story. So that's
Fantastic.
fantastic. And I'm just gonna kind of, doesn't matter to the listeners, but for the YouTube viewers, kind of just disappear off screen for
Well,
a
most of you have anyway.
second. Oh,
Oh, this is
blimey,
brilliant.
that's the bit you didn't want to see.
This is great YouTube. This is.
Well,
Oh.
you know, we're a podcast, right? And I just
So for
quickly,
the
obviously.
listeners, I'll quickly
Of course,
describe. We're looking at a chair.
it was on the red button, of course, if you didn't get a chance. So that's the drawing from Barry.
Ah,
And I
brilliant.
managed to get a couple of pieces. And I just thought I'd show this piece, which
Oh,
I'm
there's no
really
need for
over
that. I
the
think
moon
we just blank out the screen, shall we?
Yeah, it's the first
Wow.
page from the Match of the Day annual of
Oh,
Roy of the
wow.
Rovers. So yeah, that's, as you can imagine, that's now definitely pride of place in my collection.
Brilliant.
I mean, that Rock of the Reds. I mean, I know you've. Maybe you should need to do a proper section on it because obviously it was written by John Wagner, wasn't it? Who's
Yeah.
like famous for Judge Dredd and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So and I think Alan Grant was involved as well. So yeah, we should do a
Yeah.
section on that. That's really cool.
Mm.
And
Good
that
shout.
artwork is amazing.
Yeah,
It is,
it's really good
isn't
stuff.
it? Fantastic. Time Traveller. Do you have anything to add? Have you got anything new yourself?
Kind of, yeah. Well, not me, but it's the family. Well, it was me who bought it, but I bought it for
Well, for being a dad, yeah.
It's yeah, for being a dad. My daughter Catherine is loving the Marcus Rashford books. I
Oh,
think
brilliant.
he's been doing a great job. It's Marcus Rashford written with Abiola Bello, so I think Abiola probably writes most of it,
Do you
and
think so?
Marcus gives her the ideas, but. It's a book series for kids, the Breakfast Club Adventures. It is what it says on the label, really. Kids who go to a breakfast club at the local school have these adventures solving mysteries,
Oh,
sometimes maybe
wow.
play a bit of football. But it's great that he's actually advertising. This is his way of advertising kids who go to breakfast clubs. That such a thing is around for kids who
Yeah.
really need it. So this one is called The Movie Monster, which I think Catherine has finished because there's a bookmark currently in The Goblin's Revenge. So she's got a couple there that the former Man United player Marcus Rashford has been doing.
Fair play to him for
No.
putting out books. We all
Yeah,
we
it's
all want
brilliant.
kids to read books, don't we?
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
excellent.
Yeah,
So it's a double edge there, isn't it? Bringing out books for kids to read and also talking about breakfast clubs.
Yeah.
Well played. Nicely done for the little time traveller. Wonderful. Who's now got a nickname. So lovely.
And by the way, she's also a massive Doctor Who fan. She's been watching it most days now. When she has an obsession, she has an obsession, and this one is Doctor Who. And I'm going to take her down to a Doctor Who club next Sunday.
Wow.
You know what? She's my new favourite on the podcast. Then, if she loves Doctor Who,
Maybe I'll get her on. I could call her up now if you want, but maybe I could get her on another time.
Blimey, we'd be here until next Tuesday if that was the case. It's time for the goodbyes. We're back in 2 weeks, of course.
Yep.
It's time for the goodbyes. I'll quickly go around everyone. Let's start with Bygone Bergen.
Another great episode. Really enjoyed tonight's episode with both Ian and Paul's sections. And I enjoyed Collector's Corner as well, realizing that there is other people out there who are just the same as me. But yeah, thank you very much for tonight's episode. Really enjoyed it. Even though it was quiet, I still enjoyed it.
No, well, we look forward to your section next time, Bygone.
We're not going to let him do a section next time, Gold. Shh, remember, don't say it.
We'll never be allowed to do a section again after forgetting one.
I don't think
one of the things to Collector's Corner.
I don't think he's read the letter yet.
Look at his face. Bless him. He's got a baby face, doesn't he? Oh. Anyway, let's move along to the tangential one for your goodbyes and your thoughts.
Yeah, no, fantastic. I'm not going to lie. I've got to be careful. I'm still sort of coming down from the red, even though it's 7 days after the event. I'm still kind of coming down from that last Sunday, the Red Button special, but loved every minute of it. I love Ian's reflections on each of the seasons, and it was a really, for me, that was quite a big season there as well. A lot to get through. And although you said, I thought, Neil, we might have only said 17 words, but all of them were golden. He's trying to get another nickname. That's the problem. But yeah, it's thoroughly enjoyable. Putting a smile on my face, and I needed one after today.
I bet.
I mean, that's why my screen broke when you smiled. Moving on, it's the time traveler and little time traveler, although she's not here. Ian, what do you think of today's episode?
I'm sure little time traveler will love watching this segment back, and I can't wait to show her. But thank you very much again for having me on. I really enjoy doing these, and look forward to the next one in a couple of weeks.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Ian. Moving on to Matt Richards, the mute button Matt Richards. What have you got to say for yourself?
Well, you know what? It was just an honour tonight to meet two Bruce Grobbelaars. That's my abiding memory of tonight, really.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm speechless, to be honest. Yeah, I'm glad that I've shut the time traveler up with the Grobbelaar impression. I mean, it wasn't so bad when he did it, but his Neil Kinnock was shite. No offense.
Neil would object to that very much indeed.
Why? Why did I bother? Thank you, Matt. Thank you to everyone. Thank you for all your hard work, people. As always, it's always a joy to do the podcast with you. And we'll be back in 2 weeks with more of the same ridiculousness, impressions, singing, bald-headed, shiny light bulb, and other stuff. Have a good 2 weeks. Thank you very much. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Hiya.